2024 Serie del Rey in Mexico just ended the other day, and the champions are none other than Diablos Rojos del Mexico, the winningest franchise in LMB history, claiming their 17th league title this year, and they did it in the most dominating fashion. I wanted to put together a short video today and explain just how good this Rojos team really was this year. Arguably the best team in LMB history, definitely the most dominant team out of all the major professional baseball leagues around the world this year. First, we look at the talented players they gathered for this season. Think about where the LMB rates among the professional summer leagues. You know MLB is at the top, followed by NPB, then KBO. The fourth highest level of talent among summer baseball leagues can either be found in the LMB or Taiwan CPBL. They're very close and it's hard to judge, especially when the CPBL has only 6 teams while the LMB has 20. So the LMB is comparable to somewhere in the middle of the minor league system. Players are often ex-minor leaguers or ex-major league players. Sometimes it's not their underperforming that causes them to make the move from MLB to LMB, as we saw in recent years with guys like Yasiel Puig and Roberto Osuna. Major league talent in the LMB isn't rare, but Rojos' lineup really seemed almost too good for the LMB. The obvious one is starting pitcher Trevor Bauer, National League Cy Young winner with the Cincinnati Reds 4 years ago. Last year, a top 10 pitcher in NPB with the Yokohama DNA BayStars. Could have gone back to the BayStars this year, but went to Mexico because it would have been easier to leave if a major league offer came his way. That never happened, so he stayed in Mexico City. You don't have to like the guy, a lot of people don't, but you have to admit that he's still a major league level pitcher. Tomohiro Anraka pitched in NPB the last 9 years. In 2023 for the Rakuten Eagles, he had a .304 ERA and 57 relief appearances. He didn't leave NPB for lack of performance. It was his history of bullying that caused the Rakuten Eagles to part ways with him. Jose Perella, a major league hitter from 2014 to 2019. 1 season in 2020 with the Hiroshima Carp of NPB. From 2021 to 2023, he played in the KBO. 3 great seasons there. 2 years ago, he was the KBO's second best hitter, first being Jung-Hoo Lee, now with the San Francisco Giants. He went from being one of the KBO's best to a starting outfielder for Rojos. Robinson Cano, a 5-time MLB Silver Slugger and 2-time Gold Glove winner. You'll be right to point out that that was years ago. His last chance in MLB came 2 years ago, and he struggled at that time. But he still hit well in Lidom last winter. Not a major league hitter anymore, but still an above-average hitter elsewhere. Those are 4 pretty big names to join Rojos this year. You can say 2 pitchers and 2 hitters doesn't make a team, and you'd be right. The thing is, this team was already good. In 2023, they were 55-32, best overall record in the LMB. They just didn't get it done in the playoffs. And that wasn't a new thing with this team, seemed to happen a lot. They could either find a way to win in the playoffs like they did in the regular season, or put together a team so good they can't possibly mess it up in the playoffs. And they chose the latter. This year's team dominated like no other. 71 wins, 19 losses, 20 games ahead of the second place team in the South, 18 games better than the North champions Sultanes de Monterrey, best home record of any team at 35-9, best away record of any team at 36-10, outscored their opponents 655 to 394, an average game score of 7.3 to 4.4. Those 655 runs scored were the most of any team. Only one other team was within 100 of that mark. 3 Rojos hitters finished in the top 10 in OPS. Robinson Cano was second, and 2 more former MLB hitters, Jose Marmolejos and Franklin Barreto, were 7th and 9th respectively. All 3 hitters had an OPS over 1,000. Cano won the batting title with a .431 average. Julian Ornelas led the LMB in RBI, also had a .928 OPS. Cano and Marmolejos were 2nd and 3rd respectively in on-base percentage. If you're no stranger to the LMB, you may not be impressed with these offensive numbers. Their home field is at a higher elevation than Coors Field. The ball travels far, and bloated offensive statistics are to be expected. Fair enough. But what made this team different was that they also allowed the fewest runs, 394 runs allowed. The next best number came from El Águila de Veracruz. That team allowed 426, and this was in a hitter-friendly park. Trevor Bauer, as expected, had a great year on the mound, led the LMB in ERA for most of the season, but ended up in second with an ERA of .248, 0.13 behind the leader. Also second in WHIP and first in strikeouts, with 120 Ks in just 83 1/3 innings. Another starting pitcher, Eric Leal, was 4th in the LMB in ERA at .291. Leal never made it to the major league level, but he's been one of the top pitchers in the Venezuelan league for the past several years. So, 2 pitchers in the top 5 of the league in ERA, both of them sub 3. That's amazing. In a league where any ERA under 4 is really good, having 2 starting pitchers under 3 is fantastic. Their march through the playoffs, well, it went mostly as you'd expect. They started out by beating defending champions Pericos de Puebla 4-1. No double-digit victories or anything like that, but they came out on top 4 times out of 5. Next round, a 4-game sweep over 2022 champions Leones de Yucatan, 6-2, 8-6, 5-2, and 4-1. Then came the final series in the South, and this is where the argument for greatest team all time has a little hard time with an explanation. 5th-seeded Guerreros de Oaxaca built a 3-0 series lead, winning the first 2 games 5-4 and 9-4, and walking it off in Game 3 12-11. But Rojos stormed back, winning decisively in Games 4 and 5 by the scores of 16-5 and 9-1. In Game 6, they overcame an early 9-1 deficit to prevail 11-10. Then in Game 7, came back from a 2-0 deficit through the first 6 innings, walked it off in the 9th, and escaped with a 4-3 series win. Then in the Serie del Rey, they had no problem with North Division champions Sultanes de Monterrey, 14-6 in Game 1, 17-0 in Game 2, a 2-0 shutout in Game 3, and a 4-2 win in Game 4. Starting pitcher Brooks Hall had a perfect game through 5 innings in that one, ended with 7 scoreless and only 2 hits and no walks. And that was the end. Rojos finished the LMB playoffs with a record of 16-4. Almost all those losses came in the South Final Series versus Guerreros. Take away that one series and it was complete domination by Rojos. But every great team has a series like that, and the very best teams find a way to overcome it, as Rojos did when they found themselves down 3-0. And that's it, short video today. Just wanted to talk about Diablos Rojos del Mexico and how great they were this year, one time before the 2024 Serie del Rey becomes too much of a distant memory. Now it's time to focus on MLB, NPB, KBO, and CPBL, all less than a month away from their postseason. Anyway, that's all for this one. Until next time, this is Baseball International. See ya!